Hello, I am Bobby Royo, and I am presenting the power of nonverbal communication in sports and everyday life. What led me to choosing this topic was because when I actually thought about how much we use nonverbal communication, it was kind of crazy to me that how much we use in everyday life, doing everyday things, and even in sports. And from someone who played sports personally myself, I have a very good grasp on the subject of nonverbal communication in sports, so I decided to present it for this assignment. What is nonverbal communication and why is it important? Nonverbal communication is the transfer of information without using words. It includes facial expressions, gestures, posture, eye contact, tone of voice, and body movement. Research shows 55% communication is body language, 38% is tone of voice, and only 7% is actual words. It is important in sports, leadership, everyday actions more often than we think. Mastering it can improve relations, boost confidence, enhance teamwork. So, this slide basically goes over what it is. Nonverbal communication is basically just communication without using words. Includes facial expressions, which we use a lot, even unconsciously. We use facial expressions as a way of nonverbal communication, and it said like nonverbal communication. It just shows more than what words. It kind of fills the empty void that words can leave. Uh, and that's from gestures like just moving around, posture, eye contact, tone of voice, anything like a more enthusiastic tone of voice can sound more intriguing than like a mellow and just boring tone of voice. And it's like it helps engage in conversations and improve just conversations in general. It is important in sports because we use it a lot, especially in football, like hand signals and gestures for plays. We use it to get the play call. We use it to say if the snap count is on two, not jumping off sides, things like that. Is very important because it keeps everyone on the same page. Leadership is very important in leadership because you can be motivating as a person, and your nonverbal communication, your gestures, your tone of voice, and your body movement can just show non motivation and just slouchy. So someone who's more enthusiastic in the words they say, more like upbeat and up tempo would be like more a better leader than someone kind who's just kind of going with the flow and not really like interested. You can tell when someone's interested or not interested. Key types of nonverbal communication. Facial expressions are just universal signals of emotions like happiness, anger, fear, and surprise. You can tell from someone's facial expressions on how they're feeling, like or their mood, just based off their facial expressions alone. That's a way of nonverbal communication. Um, Body language and posture. So your body language says a lot more than you would probably think it does. Like slouch over and just not engaging in conversations or anything like that. In like job interviews, you wouldn't want to go into a job interview with a terrible body language. It probably wouldn't get you the job. Gestures, hand movements, head nods, or even crossed arms send strong messages. So hand movements could keep your the person you're talking to more engaged into the conversation. It will have something that they can focus on. Uh, Head nods can show a person who's in a conversation A person who's receiving words, I guess, a head nod from them would show the person who's speaking that they are focused and they are intrigued on what they're saying. And crossed arms is like a sign of like, I guess, I want to say power. It just shows that you're like confident in what you're saying and makes you feel like you know what you're talking about. Eye contact builds trust, confidence, and attentiveness. Attentiveness. Eye contact is very crucial in nonverbal communication because it can just show like a lot of things about a person. A person who has weak eye contact, it could just show that they're maybe untrustworthy, they're not confident in themselves, and they're not very attentive to what's going on around them. Eye contact shows can basically eye contact can tell you a lot more about a person than what their words can tell you. Tone of voice, pitch, volume, speed, and how a message is received. Tone of voice is crucial to nonverbal communication because it really gets off what you want to say and how you want it to be said. Like for a joke, if you were joking with someone, uh, a tone of voice is like very important because if you joked with like a certain tone of voice, it may not come off as a joke and it may come off to maybe offensive to someone. So tone of voice is very important. Even in football, going back to that, tone of voice is important. If my coach just never, if my coach just all the time was just lousy and just had a lousy tone of voice, then a lot of people wouldn't follow him. But because his voice is very stern and very strong and has like a lot of backbone to it, a lot of more people pay attention and it just gets your point across even better. Nonverbal cues in sports, leadership, and team dynamics. As I said before, body language. Coaches and athletes use body posture to show confidence or frustration. You can always tell when your coach is frustrated, especially from experience. It's not a good feeling when your coach is frustrated. You'll always be able to tell, just not even from words, just from body language alone. Just like a hand on head, just looking down, just disappointment. It's never a good feeling. You can always tell when they're disappointed. Facial expressions. Athletes' faces can reveal emotions like determination, frustration, or excitement. You can always tell when someone's excited and just ready to play before a game. It's a lot more noticeable before a game. Like everybody's excited, they're determined, and the frustration parts will probably come into play like during or like towards the end of the game where score may not look like what you want it to look like, so everybody's frustrated. But then again, you might see that determination again in people's faces, and it just says a lot more than words can show. Eye contact, as before, eye contact is very important. Helps receive signals and communicate uh, that you're listening and you're involved in the conversation. Gestures, gestures are important, especially in football, because you may not always hear what your coach is calling out for the play. So the gestures that they do on the sideline really help to get the play because the crowd can be crazy loud sometimes. So gestures always play an important part in nonverbal communication for for sports. Tone of voice, coaches will have to yell. Even when on the sideline, they have to yell to get their points across. Motivational speeches, you wouldn't want a motivational speech to someone very who has a very lazy tone of voice. It wouldn't be very motivating. So tone of voice is very important in sports, nonverbal. Nonverbal communication in everyday life. relationship interviews, and more. First impressions, nonverbal communications are very important to first impressions. It can tell you a lot about a person before even meeting them. Them just walking on the street and looking at them, you could tell a lot about a person. Body language, eye contact, and posture can determine how others perceive you in seconds. All that stuff combined can someone can get a good idea on what you're like just off of just looking at your body language. Uh, Job interviews, as I said before, you wouldn't want to disappoint your interviewer who's interviewing you. A firm handshake, maintaining eye contact, confident posture, all of that displays competence and reliability, shows that you're a good employee, shows that you have the confidence in yourself and the ability to do your job. Social interactions, reading the room is essential. Eye contact, posture, and tone help you navigate conversations. Reading the room is important to me, especially because I feel like I am personally really good at reading the room, and just being able to read the room can kind of tell you how conversations will go before you even speak. So just that alone will let you know how to approach a conversation, basically. Public speaking, using gestures, facial expressions, and tone can make you more engaging and help connect with your audience. Public speaking is an important way to use nonverbal communication because what you're saying can tell you one thing, but everything else you're doing can tell the audience something completely else. So making sure that you're using nonverbal communication effectively during public speaking is crucial. Why nonverbal communication is so important. 93% of communication is nonverbal. Nonverbal cues reinforce, contradict, or replace verbal messages. It builds trust, connection, and understanding in all relationships. Crucial for leadership, teamwork, and emotional intelligence. Misreading cues can lead to misunderstandings or conflict. This just kind of goes back over everything I've already said before. It kind of just goes back over everything I already stated before. Just it's just important in everyday life because you wouldn't want to miscommunicate something with someone based off of how your actions kind of just navigate the conversation. And this is my works cited. That'll be everything for nonverbal communications and sports everyday life.